She didn't want to have anything. She was adamant. So we're already breaking the rule. So we just wanted to keep it small and intimate and the people that she loved the most. And yeah, sorry.
She did say she didn't want to go down the river like that because it was too cold.
Too cold.
So we are going to honor that part. We're going to put her up on Mount Lonely, I think.
So after Matthew shares, if you guys, anybody wants to just share a brief memory that you think Mom would appreciate, or she provided a lot of material through the years, so I'm sure that.
Cool. Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, so I don't mind things that long.
Sorry.
Mom asked me to just kind of prepare something brief to say, and I remember a detail Mom shared with me. I think Aunt Mary Ann had noticed a book that Grandma had opened on her, like one of the little tables by her couch. Oh, I guess, okay, it's a devotional called Jesus Calling, and I guess Aunt Mary Ann found it open to the day before Grandma died, so January 16th, and I thought, oh, it'd be cool to see kind of what Grandma read about that day in her devotional and just share that. So I'm going to share it. This devotional, the author is basically writing as if God were speaking to the person reading it. So here's what it says. I thought it was pretty fitting. Come to me and rest in my loving presence. You know that this day will bring difficulties, and you are trying to think your way through these trials. As you anticipate what is ahead of you, you forget that I am with you now and always. Rehearsing your troubles results in experiencing them many times, whereas you are meant to go through them only when they actually occur. Do not multiply your suffering in this way. Instead, come to me and relax in my peace. I will strengthen you and prepare you for this day, transforming your fear into confident trust. I just really love how she read the words, come to me and rest in my loving presence, and then later, relax in my peace. And that's what Grandma's doing now. These are the truths that comforted Grandma, especially in her late years where, you know, her body was failing her, and also she looked around the world and saw plenty of things she didn't like, and sort of, you know, would have true sorrow in her heart about a lot of things, and she would often say to me, you know, at least someday, like, I won't have to worry about these things anymore, and everything will be okay. And so I just wanted to share that to comfort all of us. I know it brings me joy to know that Grandma is now resting from all of her labors and her worries and her fears and her troubles, and all of those things are behind her now, and she is relaxing in the presence and peace of Jesus. So that's what I wanted to say. And now, so I guess we're just opening it up. Yeah, amen. And we're just opening it up to anyone to share a memory of Grandma or a thought about Grandma, or is that kind of open-ended like that?
Yeah. Well, I have one. And it also involves Mary Ann. It's just so,
That's so funny.
This was about a week before she died, right?
Yeah.
Was Mary Ann all this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Debbie spilled the beans.
Mom was, everybody knows, she was a little bit defiant, you know, a little bit sneaky. And I had a way of always catching her, like when she was sneaking around smoking behind Al's back. I would go to the grocery store and I would pull up and there she'd be, like. And I would be coming over and I would be driving down a different street and there she'd be. So I kept catching her. I think I caught her 4 or 5 times. But anyway, but this is another little defiant moment. So Mary Ann wanted her to eat some protein. And Mom didn't really want to eat a lot toward the end. But Mary Ann got her, you know, she'd tell you what she wanted. She wanted a hot dog. So Mary Ann got her a hot dog. She put her at the desk where she liked to sit. And she supposedly ate her hot dog. And then Mary Ann saw that she had, so Mary Ann went home. So the next day, I went over there and she said, don't tell anybody. She said, I didn't want that hot dog. So when Mary Ann wasn't looking, I'd take a little piece and I'd stick it in the drawer. And then she went home. I threw it away. She was always that way.
That is awesome.
Typical mom.
We hadn't been married too long, and I think we had our first 3 and 5 years. But I was at work and I was on a break with some of the folks I worked with, and they were all sitting around complaining about their mother-in-laws. Awful they were. And I didn't have anything to say because I couldn't open up. And I actually wrote that to her in a card that year and said, you know, I had nothing to contribute to that story.
Oh.
And it makes me very happy. And totally mean that.
Oh, that's sweet.
I have something. Inez and I would get together and she would tell me secrets about and then she'd say, don't tell, okay?
That's Debbie's mom.
Yeah.
I don't know, but-
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Are you gonna tell any of those secrets?
Nope.
Right
I'm not gonna tell. That's it.
Well, that's comforting.
She told us stuff about
I
you.
wonder which one of us is adopted. How did you find that out?
No, right, Marcia?
For
That
the
was
Do not tell her a secret.
for the grandkids, I got 5 words. Well, 5. Beanbag chair,
Yep.
grumpy old man, chicken tenders, molasses cookies.
Molasses
What's the last one?
Bagels.
There's always.
Eagle.
Eggo waffle.
Oh, that's
Our grandma loved us.
There's pillars.
She was amazing and always listened to us, and we'd always listen to her complain about.
And all her secrets about Ann.
She never really talks back. Yeah, I miss her.
I didn't know Inez until 1967 when I started going.
Oh, until then?
Oh, until then.
I was fine.
I got the prime time. When I joined the little church in Sky College, and she was active in that, and we became friends. And we were there about 10 years to nurture this friendship. And she was so amazing. I didn't even realize how young she was then. She brought up 3 boys, ran a motel. So in order to get a little fun, she would put a note on the door that she could be reached at the Sky Chalet. And that's with Patty's and Michelle's mom, Carol.
Yes.
We were 3 friends. We could go to coffee. Not have to worry about anything but going to coffee. And we worked on that a lot. She was a great lady and I loved her. She would be very proud of her sons, her daughter-in-laws, and her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I know she loved all. Thank you for having us. It was amazing. Appreciate it very much.
She loved you too, very much.
I'm Joanne's daughter Sherry, and I can tell you that Sky College is a unique community in that it raised, the boys, the Boffeys were there, and as a daughter that was involved in all that, she allowed me to grow at a very young age because she allowed me to work for her when I was like 11, I think, right? Working for her, and I came in and I was so young. She allowed me to be at the front desk at this motel one night, and I'll never forget those experiences where I'd go there and it was different than my home because she was in a very small area where she was raising these boys, and it was like laughter. There was, I don't know the backside if there was ever any frustration, but there was always this happiness that happened in that environment, and it was amazing to me because my sister and I fought. So she had these 3 boys, and it was just fun, and Mike, of course, basically lived there, so it was like this environment of just, I don't know, embracing,
Well, you weren't there enough.
I was gonna say, I heard about
There might have been
I
a
just
little.
remember it being a safe and comfortable and loving place to come, and when we laughed. We laughed a lot. It was always Mrs. Boffey. I would never thought of calling her right now. So that was way disrespectful. So it was always Mrs. Boffey, and you know, it was just an environment that was such a blessing to have been brought up in this small community where you had this family that just took you in and taught you things that you didn't know and would be there for you and be there for the rest of the community. And it was, the whole family was an amazing, and still is, amazing family. And I just feel so blessed to have been a part of that upbringing in that community that allowed that.
That's so great.
Again, like my mom, thank you. This is a great opportunity just to honor her and be thankful for all that she's given us in all of her life. So
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that as far as Mrs. Boffey providing a safe and loving environment. There was a lot of us kids that used to hang out there, and by God, they lived in a small little motel room, and Mrs. Boffey put up with all of us hanging out in her part of the motel room there, whether we're playing cards or watching TV or playing basketball outside and raiding the pop machine. And but you know, she just she put up with all of us and gave us a safe and loving environment to really enjoy ourselves. And I love Mrs. Boffey. Here's Mrs. Boffey.
here, yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Dan? One other story about Mrs. Boffey.
Oh no.
Oh, do tell.
So we'd all hang out there, you know, and Mrs. Boffey, she'd be using the toilet, but she'd leave the door open just a little bit so she could watch the TV out there. Remember that, Dan?
I can't say that I do.
I so believe that. I'm amused but not surprised.
I think to me it was amazing that, you know, it's basically a motel room with an extension or what would be in a second door. And so the boys lived in the bedside of it, and she'd pull out that one, whatever that was, to sleep on.
Hide-a-bed.
Yeah, it was like a hide-a-bed, but it was a living room during the day, and then she'd pull out this hide-a-bed, and that's where she slept because Mr. Boffey wasn't there, of course. He was working and coming home on the weekends, and it's like what she would do to raise her family and be in a safe environment for them was just so impressive. I mean, it was, you know, what do you think, 600 square feet? I mean, it was little, tiny
I doubt it was
area.
that much, Sherry.
So I have a question for the boys then. What was the house that you guys had the moose on the wall and would fake me out at like 4 or 5 thinking there was someone talking through the moose head?
That was that piano cow that Dan won at a raffle.
I know, but what house was that?
That was the one right next to Natives.
I know, but who lived there?
Well,
They lived
so,
there 1 year.
yeah,
This is what.
we bought that, and then when after I graduated, I stayed over
Because
there
I knew
for
her then.
a year or two.
Okay, so you were the voice?
I was the voice.
Yeah,
Confessions.
but 77, your folks moved in there.
Yeah, they were in there
Dan
for a
and
while.
Larry.
Okay.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, there was a big vent, right?
Was it
right
70?
over there.
Oh, yeah, 75, excuse
And I
me.
could see
Yeah.
down there and talk to you.
And I was like petrified. I was like, oh my god.
75.
Yeah.
Right, because where you're removed is where they were living.
Yeah,
And then they moved to the trailer because they bought the trailer across from
yep.
Post office and the ski cabin and the.
Remember that? Yeah, that was like deluxe
Nice home.
And
trailer.
all I'll say as an extension of that is that, so I was like 4, 5, 6, whatever, in Skycomish, and my mom was like best friends with Inez and Joanne and Nada and whatever, but I would go over and help her vacuum in the motel. And I remember though, which is bizarre, whatever, my mom came over one day and I think I was vacuuming at the motel, like barefoot. And my mom's like, you have to put shoes on. Like my toes were gonna like get taken up in the vacuum. And then all the times like they got into toll painting, like they'd be at our house with, I don't even know what toll wood, and I think Joanne, you did it too.
There was a toll painting class up there in Skycomish
Yeah.
that they shared in.
Yeah.
I think we had some.
Yeah, I have one in my kitchen.
No, but like, even as a little kid, like I remember I noticed, you know, good times.
So
I
that's
helped
what
her
we
out
can
once
all
in a
say
while.
is my
I would
parents
help her
were
out when
into
she got
child
really
labor.
busy.
Yeah, I know, like child labor laws.
They had no problem using child labor.
I know. You got paid like a penny.
Yeah.
And you notice the parents.
We carried that theory on with ours.
Yeah.
Well, as a grandchild, we got paid a little bit better than that.
Don't they always?
One of my favorite things about like going and mowing the yard for Grandma and Grandpa, because we lived only 5 minutes away for most of the time that I was doing this, and so Grandpa would ask me to come and mow, and I'd be like, all right, I'd go mow, and he would give me like $10 because it took me like 45 minutes, like nothing. And then as it was time to go, I'd say bye to him, and Grandma would be like, oh, let me walk you to the door, and I'm like, okay. That was code for I got something for you. And she would slip me like a 20. Well, she was like, how much did he pay you? And I'm like, only 5, Grandma. Whatever. I'd make a joke, but it was, whatever. And she'd go, yeah, okay, here's another 20. Just and would send us off. But more than that, every time we would leave the house, I remember she would always stand at the door and wave at us until we were out of sight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
She always
Yeah,
did.
I
She
love
waited
that.
till you were out of sight.
We went to the door and waved until we
Yep.
were out of sight.
Yep.
Tell her to go in because you're gonna be in
Well,
there.
if it was cold, she wouldn't come off the steps.
Yeah.
But she would still stand in the doorway.
Wave at you until you're gone.
Yeah, that was sweet.
She would do that with me too every time I was up there. She'd stand in her doorway until I drove off.
Yep.
And sometimes I'd be sitting in the driveway working on my phone or something for like 5 minutes, and then I'd back out and look, and she's out there.
You're like,
And then she'd come over and tell Mom, Greg sits in the driveway. So I wanted to go in. I was cold.
oh, it's, yeah. That was special.
She used to have this little tin in the closet in the office in the trailer. And I can remember the boys would come home. We lived there 9 months. And they'd get some gas money when they left. You remember that, Greg?
I don't remember that, but it's probably true.
I mean, she took care of anybody. Anybody that needed something, she'd take care of them. It was just in her DNA.
That's where her cigarettes were too.
Speaking of cigarettes, I'd help her out now and then, and in the very early stages of that, I went into one of the rooms and I came out and I said, that's terrible. Something is really bad in that room. She walked in and she said, oh, they'd smoke marijuana. That was back in '67 and '8. Oh, okay. I know what that smells like. She knew what it was.
Yeah.
She smoked it.
No. More of a city-fied person.
She told us about one time when her grandpa found some leftover and they rolled it up and smoked it.
No, it was already, I'm sure it was already rolled. They wouldn't have known.
Or maybe, whatever. They just said that they found some
wanted
leftovers
to
from
do
a
it
guest
inside.
and they wanted to try it, so they did.
She said, I didn't think it was. She didn't think it was.
They didn't. I don't know if anything. I think she said that she didn't feel anything or whatever, but she's like, we tried. I was like, I was like, I know.
Yeah.
That's the secret ingredient.
She wasn't, she was a firecracker too. I remember the story of Mrs. Boffey. Somebody checked out of their motel room and they stole the sheets. And by God, she got in her car and found that they were parked at Josh's gas station there and went up to the car and got her sheets.
I can see her chasing them down.
She was a firecracker, and that's how she raised those boys, even too. It's like, the way it is, boy.
She has lots of little phobias, like she was terrified of the curtains not being closed at night. And so one time we had her babysit and we lived out on 5 acres and we didn't have curtains in our living room or anywhere. And we came home, it was dark and everything, all the lights were out. It was weird. So we came in the front door, we came and we were opening the front door and we saw it from the powder room. She pokes her little out like this to see, and we could see her through the glass. And when we came in, she goes, I didn't have anywhere to sit where everyone couldn't see me. And I'm like, we're in the woods, there's nobody to see you. She goes, so I had to sit on the toilet for hours reading my book. It was the only room without a window. So she sat in there for 2 hours reading her book after she put it.
Does anybody remember when she used to talk to the truckers on her CB radio?
Busy Bee.
What was her handle?
Busy Bee.
Busy Bee, okay, that was fun. Busy Bee.
Al was workhorse, that was his. That's very fitting.
We gotta get tattoos.
Any of you boys want to?
Well, I used to go up, some people already know this, I go up once a week or twice a week and spend time with her, and we do puzzles and stuff, and we had a system. We both would sort the pieces, and it was see who could get the most corner pieces. And it was, I'd start going really fast when I saw she had 2. We'd do that, and then she always wanted to do the border, and she wanted to do the sky. So I'd pick like a couple buildings or something, and I'd be working on this side, and then she'd go, I think there's a piece missing. I said, are you sure, Mom? Yeah. See this one here? It's got to have a little bit of yellow on the knob, and it's got to have a little. And I've looked all around, and I can't find it. Will you look for me and see if you can find it? Okay. So I stop what I'm doing, and I'd look, and I go, I don't see it. Did you check the floor? And we'd look down there, and there'd be like 4 or 5 pieces on the floor. And this was every single time we did puzzle. So after a while, when she'd say, I think there's one missing, I'd say, check the floor. There it is. We did a lot of puzzles. I was posting them online all the time until towards the last few months. We really couldn't do puzzles, but she enjoyed that when we did them together.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that Mom is that she was really supportive to us boys in sports. She would go to all our sporting events, no matter if it was in O'Connor or Concrete, whatever. She would get somebody to watch the hotel and come and watch us play basketball or baseball, whatever. And she's been an amazing mom. But there was one embarrassing moment that I never forgive her for.
Only one.
When the moms were playing the girls' basketball team, her and Joanne and a couple other people got out on the floor and did big apple, little apple scissors. We got
Did you do that?
for weeks. No, I'm not gonna get up and show them. It's a cheer.
Is it like YMCA?
Big apple, big
Did our mom do that?
I think Carol was in there. I know everybody was in there. Basketball.
Yeah.
That played against the high school girls. They did it at halftime. Went out to cheer. And it was like, wow.
And the Apollo girl ran over Joanne, and I had to carry her off the floor. Remember that?
We have pictures of that.
Yeah, I do.
Mom sprained her ankle because Terry kind of bopped her a little.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was way back in the day.
Boy.
Long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
That's funny.
When we came, I set my purse somewhere, I have no idea where.
Your first?
Yeah.
Well, that was just a donation.
That's right.
Anybody else have any?
Come on, Danny, it's your turn. Tell a story.
Yeah,
I don't know if I have any good stories.
Talk about when you got in trouble and you had to wait a week to get beaten. Yeah, we get in trouble, like say Monday or Tuesday, get into some kind of a mischief, and then she would threaten it. She'll tell Dad when he got there on Friday night.
Oh,
Of course, the whole week we had to worry about what our punishment was going to be, and come Saturday morning we all get lined up, and okay, So it usually start with Greg, and then it would go to me, and Dan would be crying so hard. He may get one or two taps of it, so he skated out all the time. He was really the instigator.
I don't think I was the son that Dad had to leave work and drive home in the middle of the week to discipline.
Was that the Northgate shopping
middle
adventure?
child.
Yes.
Something to do with a trip to Northgate.
Oh.
So it wasn't an angel.
No, I think one of the things that, and we talked about in the obituary, is her eating habits that has haunt us, I think, boys forever.
And those who cook.
And those associated. I mean, it's just an ongoing thing, explaining to people why we don't eat fish, why we don't eat cheese, why we order well-done meat and all that kind of stuff. Even though I think we've gotten better over the years, at least we eat cheese on some stuff. But, and then you try to explain
Baby
why, and
steps.
it's just looking at you like you're a freak of nature. So, you know, growing up in Skycomish, we had peanut butter grilled sandwiches at school instead of grilled cheese. And then I worked in the seafood industry for a lot of years in Alaska, and every Friday was Fish Friday. Not for me. I made friends with the cooks. I signed their payroll check, so I would get a prime rib dip.
And they called him Danny. Here, Danny, here's your prime rib.
You know, went home from college with my college roommate to the Tri-Cities, and we were trying to tell his mom ahead of time, you know, what I could eat and couldn't eat. And it was easier to make a list of what I could eat than I couldn't eat. Which she didn't read, obviously. It was pretty brutal. But so anyway, you know, that's one of the memories. It's just how finicky or boring. And I live with wife and kids that'll eat, you know, we go out to dinner and they're all sampling each other's plate. They're ordering something they've never had before, and I go, ribeye, okay. I'm good to go, you know. But,
She told me one time, she goes, maybe the reason your gravy lacks flavor is you leave too much of the juices in the meat. I think that was an insult on two levels.
Well, Dan, we know how much you like your French dips.
yeah, we remember that. You remember. Maybe you don't remember. Yeah. That was a Kodak moment.
Two Jessicas.
But I know after Dad left us, and you know, he handled everything, all the finances and everything. He had every receipt of everything they bought. You know, at tax time, he'd go through a shoebox full of receipts. And so I was helping her on all that after he left, and she was saving every little thing. I said, you don't need those, forget it. Yeah. No, your dad saved everything. Okay, well, I'm not gonna add them up. You can keep them and put them in the garage, but you're taking the standard deduction. Not itemized, you know. Your dad told me, you know, well, okay. But yeah, kind of a creature of habit there.
And Denny, how long were they together? How long before your dad passed? How many years?
Well, we had this
62 or 3.
Well, we had their 60th anniversary in 2011, and he died in 13, so 62 years, I think. Wow. Good run.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, I've got a story related to food as well, and great grandparenting, which is the other thing that Grandma was a very excellent great grandmother. Always really excited to hold our babies, even when she could like barely hold anything. She was like, just prop them up right here. Forever. I feel really lucky that my kiddos got to know her. But I loved calling her and talking to her about the kids because she'd be like, well, what's going on with them? And I'd tell my struggles with potty training. Oh, well, Greg just potty trained himself. I'm struggling to walk. Oh, Larry walked before he was 1, so I'm not thinking about that. But inevitably, we'd get to some point in the conversation where she'd tell me, milk is the magic solution. Whole milk.
She was very nervous. I remember she was babysitting Andy for like, I think you guys were on a trip. It was like a long weekend or something. We were there, and he was probably a few months old. I don't know. But she would take the flashlight, and I swear it would be 15 minutes. She would go in the room, make sure he's breathing. And I was, you know, I probably didn't help. I just looked at her and I said, "What if he dies between those 15 minutes?"
Oh my gosh.
Jesus, I was just joking, but I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why are you going in there every 15 minutes? If he's breathing, she just was so nervous that anything would happen to the kids. And I just thought, what are you doing? It was just hilarious. She just, yeah. And then one of my favorite, can I tell the story about the cussing?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So she would get very nervous when anything was uncomfortable or she didn't know what to do. And Andy got a hold of some words that he was using, and he was probably 3. And Marcia and Larry told her, we're just ignoring the words. So Andy, she sat on the bed, and she's reading a book to Andy. And Andy was very bright-eyed, his little big brown eyes, and he was a little bit delightful with his power over the situation. And he was looking up at her face like this, and she's reading, and he said, "Bitch." She starts shaking a little, and she turns the page, and she's reading it, and he's just like, "Bitch, bitch, bitch." And she just got shakier, and Andy got happier.
I remember her telling me that.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. But yeah, she had lots of little nervous. I can still see his little face.
I would say, I remember her, and I could never call her to this day. It was always Mrs. Boffey, you know, just that. And I remember her as being just so generous, and yet because I worked as a waitress at places, they have their coffee and their cigarettes advice, and I just know they were probably over there, like a lot of us, probably talking about a lot of people. I don't think anything missed your mom. But the thing I remember, one of the things that she was generous about, to your dismay, is that Linda Berg and I would come over to the motel and ask your mom if we could borrow some of your Archie comic books. And she said, yeah, go ahead. Yes, you can, go ahead. And they would just be coming in as we were leaving. And just say, wait, and they were probably prize, collector item kinds of things. And I said, we'll get them back. But your mom always let Linda Berg and I come over to their place and